Before I begin, I want to get the spoiler warnings out of the way. Compared to my other review videos where spoilers were very light or non-existent, this topic will be a bit different as I will talk about all the characters that die in this game. With that said, I'm happy to inform everyone that I've recently just completed the main story of Yakuza Kiwami. And I think I've made a huge mistake. A while back, I made a review for Yakuza 6 where I mentioned that it can be enjoyed by people who have never played a Yakuza game before, and I still hold that belief. But I never told people they shouldn't start with 6. I'm pretty sure very few people actually jump into the middle of a series, let alone the end of a series, just because it's newer. Either way, I just need to say, it's a bad idea. I like to think that playing a game set further down in the timeline, such as Yakuza 6, wouldn't affect how I would enjoy the previous games, such as Kiwami. After all, it's not unusual to play a prequel to a game after playing the original. Sometimes it can even enhance the story of the series and further develop characters beyond what was originally done. For instance, I played Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1, then played a prequel, Crisis Core, years later on the PSP, but that didn't affect my enjoyment any less. In fact, I think playing 7 first made Crisis Core that much better since it already established a lot of the characters and the setting. We can see this even within the Yakuza series. Yakuza 1 was released in 2005, with subsequent installments being released every couple of years. It wasn't until 3 years after Yakuza 5 was released that Yakuza 0, a prequel to the Yakuza series, would be brought onto the market. And it was received very well by fans, showing that even though you're playing a prequel to a familiar series, it can still be enjoyable. With that mindset, I decided it was fine to play Yakuza 6 first, and figured it wouldn't affect my experience negatively when I went back to play the previous installments. And boy was that a mistake. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy Kiwami. It's still the same formula used in Yakuza 6, basically a mafia drama with a great gameplay system and plenty of minigames. But the problem was that I knew which characters were gonna die ahead of time, and that affected how I felt about certain parts of the story. When I met new characters that I knew were gonna die like Reina and Yumi, it was difficult to form a personal connection with them. And it's these connections that are really important, especially when it's time to kill them off. Nothing really destroys your soul like losing that one character you really like and related to. I still remember the time I saw Aerith get killed by Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII. It was heartbreaking. It was the first time I felt that kind of impact playing a video game. Imagine instead I knew she was gonna die. Would the same connection have been made between me and her? And when it came time to write her off, would I still have felt that same way, as Sephiroth slowly descends upon her with his Masamune? Probably not, right? While Yumi and Reina's death is in no way comparable to Aerith's death, the idea is the same. When I saw Reina's death scene, it was a little sad, but I knew that scene should have been more impactful. As Kazuto Arase's henchman tossed her cold dead body in front of Kiryu, I could feel some anger. Her limp dead body rolling over, revealing her open eyes shows that she was killed in cold blood without remorse. I understood how Kiryu and Shinji felt as Kazuto smirks at his deeds, but I should have definitely been more angry. Maybe not Kiryu screaming angry, but close. Because I knew of her demise ahead of time, I could not help but distance myself from her character. And I knew I was doing it too, but there was nothing I could do to really stop it from happening. While you could argue it's obvious that she was gonna die even if I didn't know, it really isn't that obvious until everything is said and done and all is revealed. The same can be said for Yumi, but it's actually worse in her case, since she's the closure, the end goal of the game. Ideally, the hope is for Yumi, Kiryu, and Haruka to live happily together at the end of Yakuza, and it seems like it's a plausible ending after Kiryu defeats Jingu and Nishiki. The death of Yumi at the end would have been a great twist to a very entertaining mafia drama, but since I knew it was coming, it was all I was expecting. I couldn't get into that moment of relief that everyone is safe, only to have the rug pulled out from under me after lowering my guard. And like I said before, I enjoyed Kiwami, and I'm excited to play 0 and Kiwami 2, but I really screwed myself over by playing 6 first. So learn from my mistakes. Don't be me. Don't start with Yakuza 6 or any Yakuza game after 1. Be smart. Be like everyone else that started with the first games.